Good morning. Some of my subscribers have requested that I upload a video with a view of the grounded 737 MAX airplanes. So I'm going to give you a view. We're on the bridge, and you can see the sun real clear here too. It's rising over the Duwamish River. Okay, let me show you. You can see Mount Rainier, Mount Tahoma, over in that direction. Okay, so this is east, okay, part of Boeing Field. I pass over this bridge more often, than people expect. This is the South Park Bridge that I'm on. Okay, so this is about a social disaster having more to do than just the Pacific Northwest or the state of Washington or the United States or Boeing. Well, it has to do with Boeing, but there's more to it. This was a social disaster that affected human beings, especially people wanting to travel. This was an international disaster. So it happened back in 2019. Okay, it began during that time, and it involved these airplanes here, which were supposed to be ahead of their time. The 737 MAXs. Has to do with now you see it, now you don't, flim-flam, and cutting costs for increasing profit over human need. But that's just my opinion, and what the hell do I know? And it has to do how there was finger pointing on all sides. Not just the higher ups at Boeing, but also bureaucracies affiliated with our government. Kind of like, I visualize it like the Ferengi from the Star Trek shows, pointing the finger at each other. Miscommunication, and I think some of it was done on purpose in order to make profit and take the money and run. And who cares if lives are lost? That's the name of the game in this game. 2 flights. One from Ethiopia, having to do with Ethiopia, but it had all different classes and nationalities, different races on that plane. And then Indonesia, Indonesian flight, the same thing. Different classes, people from all walks of life, creeds, races, religions, what have you. It doesn't matter. The point is, 346 people died of all ages, including all the pilots and all the crew. So, for the past year and a half or so, I've seen this field over here It was full about a year and a half or so ago of different MAX planes from various airlines all over the world. And slowly, every time I go over this bridge, Francis pointed it out to me as well, about one less airplane. But it's right there. There's no conspiracy. There's no, how do I explain it? It's right there to see. Okay, you can see it for what it is. Look at these boats here. Isn't that cool? Lionel, that's for you. Yeah, and Mind Power Musician and Alex G, that's for you guys. By the way, thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing. And Babushka and Tombo, I wanted to show this to you. Maybe you've watched these stories on the news and you've seen layers of the bureaucracy that apologize for the actions of the upper echelons involved in this calamity of a social disaster. Now, Babushka, yeah. My two main relationships when you were young was your birth father and your stepfather. Short relationships. And a lot of it was my fault on my part of making bad choices. I was too empathetic for these people. However, in the beginning of getting to know them and their family background, I had a lot of empathy for their journeys and for their families' journeys. Your birth father, he was an airborne ranger in the Army. He knew how to jump out of airplanes and helicopters and parachute, and he had amazing survivalist skills that did kind of fuck with his head. Well, he served in Panama, and that's a whole nother story. But his stories to me were quite fascinating about his struggles and his journeys in that profession. And then my ex-husband, even though he was a bus driver, for a short stint, he didn't serve, but he went through the training of the Air Force. But his father's background was Air Force career, being a machinist, and then being a military family and traveling. And then going on to become an aeronautic engineer, along with one of my ex-husband's brother, one of his brothers. And then the other brother becoming a machinist. Although he moved up to supervisor and turned his nose on the class-conscious struggle for the Union. That was a big argument, and I'll tell you about that more in other videos and stories. But it rang a bell in me. Then I've talked to other machinists and kept up with the history of this. Because Francis used to be a spar mill operator and lead. It's part of the machinists at Boeing, and I've talked to other engineers. This, along with other calamities and fights and struggles, affected all these workers. It's all connected like a web across the board. And not just with this company, but with other airline companies all over the world and workers. If you look at it from a class look rather than just one country, using nationalism. I don't like that. I like looking at things from a worldview and how it affects everybody across the board. Oh, there's a plane. But anyways, I just thought I'd give you a good view. Maybe you can recognize some of these airline company logos on those planes. It's awfully bright. Maybe I'll do one more video when there's only 1 or 2 more planes left. Do you see that plane up there? Isn't that awesome? It's a calamity because people historically have come here to work for this company and other companies affiliated with it. Not just from other states, but from other countries. I think most people, workers especially, the reason why they up and move is for labor, for a better way of life. And this calamity doesn't show me any proof of a better way of life, except for the elites, the capitalists. You can see it comical as a bunch of Ferengi out of a Star Trek film or show, or you can see it for what it is. But again, what the hell do I know? So I'm on my way home. My roommate's doing fine. I gotta get back to Gus though. I left him enough food for 2 days and enough water, although my roommate texted me and told me that he replenished Gus's water one more time and noticed Gus's picky eating habits because I'll mix more nutritious cat food, the dry kibble cat food, with the more tasty kibble cat food. And my roommate noticed how Gus will eat the more tasty first. He even picks it all out with his left paw sometimes. Yeah, he's a left-pawed kitty. Isn't that funny, Lionel? Goes well with Lizzie left, doesn't it? Anyways, this is a beautiful scene over here. Down this way is the community of South Park in Seattle. A beautiful place, and I can show you around there. I was actually gonna move there, Babushka, when you were little. Maybe I should have taken that road rather than moving north. I was offered a house to rent. This was back in 2001. But I declined on it. I had the silly notion that moving up north in what I thought would be the better schools for you, and then listening to other people's flim-flam rather than researching it all myself and going by my gut feeling. With that terrible ex who turned out to be, a very prejudiced, chauvinist person. When I knew him 20 years prior to that, when I had first moved here, he wasn't that way. And he had changed on me, and he was angry with me because I did not party in my past the way he did. And I did not look upon things the way he did. And he did not listen to me when it came to my goals having to do with you and your welfare. Maybe I should have moved just down here it would have been better. The area of South Park is also considered a little version of Mexico, which is wonderful. It's got a great working class community. Going back to what I had said before, people move out here for labor and for a better life. We'll see how this pans out 5, even 10 years from now, even a year from now. We'll see this how this goes down. We'll see how the workers at Boeing now, across the board, will see their decisions that they make in their struggle in the future for better contracts and better treatment. Anyways, I gotta head back home. It's been a great walk. Francis is doing fine. And like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later, okay? I gotta get off this bridge. Take care. Bye.